Judith, you've devoted a very large part of your life exploring ways and means to change the existing social structure,
yes,
using theater, poetry, and prose to paint your vision of a new paradigm. Here I would like to bring up the word utopia. Now, in many dictionaries, the word utopia is defined as a community or society possessing highly desirable or perfect qualities that are not realistically attainable in the real world. But I found that if you add an E at the beginning of the word, it still reads utopia, but the meaning changes slightly. It means a place in which human society, the natural conditions are so ideally perfect that there is complete contentment. And here is the difference. As a practical, realizable aspiration compared with utopia, which implies an impossible one. So I'd like to ask you, Judith, talk to us about your utopian vision.
I think it's essential. I think either we're going to change the society or we're going to destroy the planet. So I think it's a very important thing to believe that revolution is possible. Now, whether after the revolution we can create an ideal society, that depends on the work we're doing now. That depends on the work that each person is doing now to create the vision. We have two double paths, everybody. A great vision of the world we would like to live in. A world without violence, without prisons, without armies, without police, without national boundaries, all those things. And we can imagine all that. Then there are the piccoli passi, the little steps that we take toward that. And how accurate can the direction of our little steps be toward that vision? Some people can make a great leap, brava for them. That's wonderful. Then some people make little steps. Some people improve some sector of life. Education, food, all of those things count toward it. And if we can keep our eye on the big vision and make our steps accurately in the direction of the big vision, then maybe we can have what you call utopian. And utopian, as you say, I always point this out, is a word that means impossible but desirable. And I want to work for possible but desirable. And my work is to convince people that the world we want is possible and is not some utopian dream, but an actual possibility of what we could create if we could get rid of this lousy system we're in.
There's the old anarchist saying, forming the structure of the new world in the shell of the old.
Yes.
For many years, the theater company you and Julian Beck founded, the Living Theater, were a direct expression of this saying. What was life like in the living? How were decisions made? What was the artistic process? Social, give us a general picture of the collective life, living and breathing in the shell of the old.
It has never been perfect. It has its problems. We welcome the problems because we are seeking the solutions to each problem. The problem of how to bring up the children. The problem of how to live without a regular income. The problem of being able to say we want to destroy the money system, but obviously we have to buy our bread and milk. So we have to have money of some sort. And how we can stay as far out of that as possible. Our decisions are, again, as collective as possible. And it's not possible yet to go all the way, because every one of us has been trained to obedience, to authority, to depending on other people above us for our sustenance, and you can break out of this part and that part, and we haven't yet found out how to break out of it altogether. But it's a constant search and a constant struggle and a constant joy.
Great. Wonderful. Where did the vision begin, Judith, for you?
It begins with being aware of the suffering in the world and wanting to do something about those who suffer most. The poor, the oppressed, the class structure victims, but we're all victims. Even the people on top are victims. They too are victims. The victimization of people, the wars, the killing, the fear we have of each other, the distrust. It begins with the suffering, and then the desire to help alleviate the suffering to a greater or lesser degree, however is in our power.
I remember the collective always had an open door policy.
Yes.
People would come, stay a few years, leave, maybe return again a year later. But at certain periods, especially after Paradise Now, and maybe after the Legacy of Cain cycle, which culminated in the epic production of Prometheus at the Winter Palace, a reoccurring theme tended to present itself, the proverbial fork in the road, one leading towards strong political activism and social interaction, the other leading towards more personal growth and consciousness on a more spiritual level. The age-old question, does change happen from inside out or from outside in? That is, do we change the social structures to transform our inner workings, or do we transform our inner understanding in order to break down the deep-rooted conditionings that will by rote affect social change? Where does the spiritual quest meet the social quest in Utopia?
I think that it is a parallel path that everyone takes. You and I and everyone who hears this is on a parallel path to find a way to live in this world and to find a way to make the world better. I think if you have one without the other, it's very incomplete. We don't choose the people who come to us. They choose themselves. When people come, I put out a rehearsal call. I say, we are looking for actors. People come. I show them a rehearsal schedule. I say, we rehearse these times and we will perform these times. Can you adhere to this schedule? If you can, you're in. I don't audition. I don't ask you if you've done theater before. I feel that the people who belong to us come to us. And that may be a superstition, but it is my belief. And so far, I have a great company. And I've had a great company. Even the New York Times, who you don't have to always believe, but the New York Times says we have a great company. And I think we do. And they are the people who have come to us.
Great. So it's like an attraction, a magnetic field which you...
I think it's more intellectual than that. People who believe what we believe or are interested in those beliefs come to us. People who are interested in the principles on which anarchism is based. People who believe in the principles on which pacifism is based. They will come and they will explore with us together.
You know, Judith, my image of you is seated behind your desk or on your bed with your reading glasses on the tip of your nose, pen in hand, and writing, and then looking out into space far away, conjuring the images and signs that will become the words of your next play or poem or diary. In fact, many of your diaries have been published because of your capacity to paint profound pictures of reality. Would you conjure up for us what a day in the life of Utopia could be? If you wish, as if you were writing it in your diary.
I don't think it would be so different than our life today, because we are very fortunate. We are leading the life of art. It's a privilege. It's a great privilege in this world to be able to create art. We have certain sacrifices we make. We are poor. We can't buy the things we'd like to buy. We can't always live the way we'd like to live or where we'd like to live. But we always continue to work on the next play. And it's a great privilege, and it's wonderful. My life is wonderful. And I think, let me answer with this. Julian's saying. Julian often said, everyone is a sublime artist. And those of us who work in the arts, or in education, or in journalism, those of us who work in the arts, it is our obligation to bring out the sublime artist in everyone. And I think in the more utopian world, in this ideal world that you're asking about, everyone will be able to express their vision as we in the living theater are privileged to express ours.
As you know, there are many utopian experiments alive in the world today,
yes.
From Damanhur in Italy, to Findhorn in Scotland, to the Elves again in Italy, to Auroville in India, to Twin Oaks and Darkosanti in America, the Yagamashi Association in Japan, Crystal Waters in Australia, and so many other lesser-known experiments. But there have been many experiments in the past, especially in the anarchist tradition, in Russia, in Spain, and even in Italy. Could you tell us about some of these experiments as you know about them?
They are very important to us. They are our inspiration. In fact, in the last play that we did, called Here We Are, ecco, siamo qui. In our last play, we even did 3 scenes about the experiments of Makhno in Ukraine, the experiments of the Spaniards in the teen years, and the Paris Commune, as examples of people trying to go further and live it out. None of them were able to succeed for long.
What happened?
What happened? The violence destroyed them. In each case, the Russian experiments in anarchist collectives were destroyed by the upcoming Leninism, Stalinism that destroyed the beautiful vision of the early communists, which was very wonderful and became a horrible dictatorship, and destroyed all these experiments. And the same in Spain, when Franco came in and simply wiped out all the communes and all the experiments that had been made in living without money, in free water, transportation, all that. And we know in the Paris Commune, they just came in and shot everybody. Now, obviously, if they kill everybody who experiments, it's very difficult to go on. And yet, as you say, it goes on. People continue to try to live the way we really want to live and keep believing that it is possible.
Since so many years you have spoken about a world without money. I think the Living Theatre, was amongst the first to really come out with this in such a strong way. Now, these days, a lot of people are starting to talk about, a lot of people now these days are starting to speak about money and how one can live without it. How can one live? How does it work without money?
Actually, if you look at money, money has no function in the society. You know, the farmer grows the apples and brings them to the city. You have to pay for the gasoline, but the gasoline comes out of the earth. It has nothing to do with money. Money is only a form of unjust bookkeeping. And we can live much better without it. And if you really examine what it is and what it does, it's more of an oppressive form than a solution to human organization.
They have now found that money now is based on debt, and we will never get out of this debt, and it will always get worse.
True.
And there's no way out unless we learn to do without money.
And that's a revolutionary step that we have to work toward, and we're not ready to do it, but we have to push to extend the limits of life and the limitations of our work to the point where we can succeed.
Where are we going, then, is my last question. It seems that we are definitely at a pivotal point. What are the options for man, womankind, at this critical moment?
I find that the younger generation is much more skeptical about the governing forces of the convention. And I think the skeptical questioning whether it's really the best way to do things is the first step. The second step is to think of a better alternative of how to organize society if we don't organize it in a punitive way, with punitive law and monetary restrictions. How can we organize it? If we have a vision that is clear how it can be done, then we can take the steps toward that and do those piccoli passi, those little steps toward the great vision.
This work you're here now in Rome with Motus
Yes.
group.
Yes.
How did that begin and how did that grow?
The moment I saw the Motus in New York, I knew I wanted to work with Silvia Calderoni. I think she's a great artist. And it's a great privilege and joy to work with her. And we like being together. And essentially, the play, the plot is the revolution. It's really a talk between her and me. It's really a real discussion, which we had several times. And then we fixed in what I call a rehearsed improvisation. And it was wonderful working with somebody who shared our vision and had this tremendous energy of youth and physical energy. And the Moat is a wonderful group, and I admire them. And I knew it right away when I first saw their first play, Antigone, they did, and then Alexis, and I saw that they were searching, as we are searching, for theatrical solutions, how to make people believe that we can build the world we want.
So what are you working on now, Judith? I know you're writing something new.
Since I have lost my home, and I live out in New Jersey in a very kind, but for me, it's difficult to live in an institution. So I am writing two plays. I am writing one play for the Living Theatre Company, and that's called No Place to Hide, because we are all hiding. We're hiding from the police, the government, the taxes, each other, our mother, our husband, our children. We're all from ourselves. We're all hiding from ourselves. And how to get out of this sense of trying to hide and open ourselves up and not be afraid of each other and not live in our fear of each other, but our trust in each other. That's the subject of No Place to Hide. And then I am doing a play for the people I live with, out in the Actors' Home in New Jersey. It's difficult for me to live in an institution, but I appreciate the thoughts of these people. And what I am writing a play about is aging, growing old in a positive sense. And we all know the negative sense, you know. We lose our sight, we lose our hearing, we can't breathe, we can't jump and run around. Everybody knows that. But there is another side that balances it, in which we become wiser. We really get smarter as we get older. And society does not realize this, and is a great resource that the society is missing. So I am speaking with all my fellow residents at the home, and they are telling me how they themselves feel wiser. By smarter, I don't mean that now we learn the dates of the death and birth of Voltaire. No, you know, it is not that. It is a greater compassion. It is a great understanding of what life is about. It's a great understanding of human relationships. It's a better knowledge of ourselves and each other, small ways and in great ways. And I am having the possibility for these residents of the Actors' Home to say how their experience has led them to understand that what they have gained is much greater than what they have lost. I have none. I am looking. Right now we will probably be working in many other people's places. They will give us a space and lend us or donate or for a small sum of money have us. So we have no space. We are homeless, but not helpless.
Sure. If, would a space, I mean, Europe, I know, is always willing to have you, Judith, here. Would that ever be a possibility?
I don't want to count out anything, but certainly I always have the rather hubristic motto, Italy loves us, but New York needs us. And we want to work where we're needed. We want to go to New York because in New York, a revolutionary change is possible. Maybe it'll start in Rome, bravo. Then we'll come here.